When it comes to E3 weekend, it's easy to miss a new game announcement. The event has gone from one day of massive reveals to multiple days of games just trying to break through the noise. And that, my friends, is what we're here to talk about. Hello all, my name is Codiak, one half of the team behind Legacy Gaming, and today we're checking out all of the potential sleeper hits from E3 2021. The Ascent is a twin-stick style shooter set in a cyberpunk world, but mix in some RPG mechanics and an almost Diablo-like gameplay loop, and you've got yourself something pretty interesting. What really sets this game apart is just how polished it looks from top to bottom, and given the fact that this is Neon Giant's first game, I'd say they've got a pretty impressive team putting this all together. The Ascent is, at its core, an RPG, and the standard things apply, like building out your character with different gear, leveling up and allocating skill points, and taking on quests and bounties. The game checks off all the right boxes. Mix in some of the other features like a high-low cover system, cyberware upgrades, local and online co-op with up to 3 other friends, and of course, hacking. Well, then we may be onto something. What impresses me the most is that they're revealing substantial chunks of gameplay ahead of launch. That's always a decent indicator that the developers are confident in their product. If your hopes were dashed by Cyberpunk 2077 and you're okay switching gears and exploring a dark cyber world from the top down, definitely give this dynamic action shooter RPG a look when it releases on July 29th. Take everything you know about BioShock and now think about a team of Russian developers rebuilding it from the ground up. That's essentially Atomic Heart. This game has been lingering around the fringes for quite some time, and I swear to God, every time we see a new trailer, I get more excited and more confused. The gist of the story is this: a global system failure happened at a Soviet facility, and now the machines are rebelling against the people. Your job is, well, no one really knows. After a few trailers, it's hard to tell exactly what you're doing, but with each new showcase, we get to see more haywire robots, more over-the-top weapons, and some BioShock-like abilities that honestly just make me all giddy. Things we do know: there's a crafting system. Those crazy-ass weapons aren't just lying around. You've got to put your Soviet know-how to the test. Other things on the website point to an open-world game, something the team has yet to showcase, but I think it's pretty safe to say all signs are pointing that way. Truth be told, this is just one of those games we're gonna have to experience for ourselves, and good, bad, or otherwise, it's bound to be one heck of a wild ride. There's no release date for Atomic Heart just yet, but my gut is telling me we're pretty close to launch. One part Zelda, another part Pikmin, and all absolutely gorgeous. The team at Ember Lab decided that being incredible animators just wasn't enough. They wanted to get into the video game world, and my gosh, this game looks good. Kena: Bridge of Spirits is a straight-up action-adventure game driven by a deep narrative. You'll befriend little companions called Rot that will enhance and augment your skills as you fight your way through bad guys in search of a sacred mountain shrine. Kena will feature everything we've come to know and love from this genre: platforming, puzzle solving, and of course, combat with a staff and bow. But I truly think there is more than meets the eye when it comes to this game. Ember Lab, just like many of the developers on this list, have yet to release a title, and I think that's a pretty refreshing take considering so many new studios are jumping into the gaming space. I do have a natural tendency to always be a bit more skeptical with first-time devs, but at this point, Kena: Bridge of Spirits is looking gorgeous, and everything I've seen of this game has blown me away. This is definitely a game to watch, and with an August 24th release date, we won't have to wait long before we get to check out this brand new fantasy adventure. I'll admit it, I have never played a Shadow Warrior game, and honestly, I hate myself a bit because of it. Flying Wild Hog is back for their 3rd installment in the series, and if you're into wild, over-the-top Doom-style games, you absolutely need to check this one out. From everything I can tell, Shadow Warrior 3 goes further than ever before to create an absolutely far-out experience with a much more vibrant world, more fantastical enemies, and an evolution on their already fast-paced combat. When it comes to a game like this, it's all about the killing, and Shadow Warrior 3 looks to continue improving upon the things that made the game popular before: rock-solid gunplay and an impactful melee system. This time, free running is added into the mix, and it's clear that gives the developers a lot of freedom when it comes to enemy and level design. Everything just looks like it's dialed up to 11, and honestly, every time a new trailer comes out, Livid and myself get more and more excited about this game. Sadly, there is no release date for Shadow Warrior 3 quite yet, but I have to imagine things are getting close. There is a lot of gameplay floating around, and the title looks polished to a beautiful shine, so I'd wager a release is coming soon. I love when developers take ideas from previous games, especially the things that worked, and inject them into brand new creations. That's exactly what we're talking about here with Sifu, a new game by Slowclap, the team that brought you Absolver. That game wasn't universally loved, but it did have some interesting ideas, mainly its martial arts themed combat, which the team looks to expand upon in Sifu. Much like Absolver, it doesn't seem like Sifu has much in the way of a deep story, just that your family was killed by assassins, and your job, seemingly the only one, is to hunt down the killers. What does look leaps and bounds better is the world, and they've already shown off some clips of the fighting, and I have to say things are definitely an improvement off their last game. What Absolver proved was that there were still new ideas out there for video games, and I think Slowclap wanted to lean into that one more time and try and perfect the good parts of that game in a new experience. And based on the reaction around the internet to Sifu, I'd say they're heading in the right direction. Based on the website, I'd even say they're trying out some different gameplay principles this time around to see if it resonates with fans. Reading between the lines, it seems like Sifu will be a roguelite where you relive the same day over and over, collecting upgrades and improving your skills until eventually you win. Sifu's definitely an interesting concept, but I think we'll have to wait quite a while for this one. The game was just revealed for the first time the other day, and with no release date in sight, I'd say we'll just have to wait and see how it all shakes out. Straight up, I loved Slime Rancher, and go ahead, judge all you want, the game is wildly unique and damn close to perfect, and even after 5 years later, it still shines just as bright as it did when it was first released. Honestly, no one saw Slime Rancher 2 coming, and I mean no one, but I think everyone that experienced the first game will agree, this is pretty awesome. The first thing I noticed was the world. Colors are more vibrant, the art style is slightly different, but it all still remains charming through and through. In terms of the gameplay loop, well, things look more or less the same. Your vac pack is back, and you'll spend hours hunting down slimes and ranching to your heart's content. New slimes, new locations, a lot looks to be changing, while the underlying gameplay principles that made the first game a wild success look to stay the same. Needless to say, I'm pumped about Slime Rancher 2, and with a 2022 release date already announced, we hopefully won't have to wait too long to learn more and eventually check out this game. Sometimes even Livid and myself can be taken aback by a new game announcement, and it doesn't always have to be a massive AAA title that can take our breath away. That's exactly how we feel about Replaced, a dark and gritty 2.5D side-scroller set in a retro-futuristic world. The game is cinematic, there's no doubt about that, and the team behind the title, Sad Cat Studios, absolutely nails the alternative 80s environment. But Behind the Flash looks to be a really interesting game that combines elements of platforming with some rather unique combat. We saw guns, some really interesting execution animations, and even some beautifully animated dodging techniques. It's hard to say where this game is going, and with just a short reveal trailer released, I'm not going to speculate. That being said, consider me extremely interested. Revealed back in 2018, Tunic has been on our radar for a while now. This Zelda-inspired game is being created by one person, and the game sadly hasn't seen much in terms of developer updates since its initial offering. That being said, a new demo of Tunic is making the rounds, and things are looking good. If you love old-school Zelda games, you'll be immediately drawn to Tunic, which combines exploration, puzzle-solving, combat, and an adorable fox. The game looks inviting, but according to multiple sources, the combat is grueling, pushing players to the limit as they dive deeper into the world. Much of the nitty-gritty details about Tunic are still unknown, including its release date, but according to murmurs around the web, things are closer to the finish line. We'll continue to keep an eye on this charming isometric game, and hopefully we'll all be playing it sooner rather than later. From a one-man team making a charming game about a fox to a two-person studio sending a crow to hunt down lost souls, Death's Door falls in sort of the same vein as Tunic, albeit with a darker twist. This action-adventure game definitely puts more stock on combat as you face off against a wide array of enemies with melee weapons, arrows, and magic. I mean seriously, a crow with a sword. It's pretty hilarious, but the dark and brooding art direction of the game somehow balances that ridiculousness. Death's Door straddles the line of bleak humor, and after a few different showings of the game, I'm 100% sold. The action looks smooth and fast-paced without being overwhelming, and the story just looks about crazy enough to work. Honestly, it was Devolver's backing of this title that sealed the deal for me. Death's Door is definitely a game I'll be checking out, and it's coming out on July 20th. As always, there are so many games to keep your eyes on, and as games like Among Us have proven, you don't need to have a massive budget to be a success. What did you all think of our list? Any games we missed? Let us know in the comments section below. While you're down there, don't forget to hit that thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. Our goal is to cover as many of these games as possible, so if you're interested, join us along for the ride. Finally, if you like our channel and you want to support us even more, you can now become a member. For the cost of a cup of coffee, you're helping evolve the channel and take our community to that next level. Check out the join button below to learn more. My name is Codiak, and from everyone here at Legacy Gaming, thanks for watching, and play on.